And welcome to a Whiskey Wednesday edition of Nightcap with Scone, presented by Hudco Roofing and, HudcoRoofing.com. Presented by Gamecoin, the first cryptocurrency, sports cryptocurrency with a purpose. Learn more at thegamecoin.net. Presented by mycleanliving.net. NASA technology inside of their air purifiers, clinically proven in military grade lab testing to eliminate the virus that causes COVID-19, and restored motions with my girl, Crystal Poche. If you have pain, help is a session away. Restored motions. Okay, LSU basketball, y'all. How about it? LSU basketball was 12-0. They pound Lipscomb tonight. Not very good Lipscomb team. So we will talk about it. LSU Bowl opt-outs. Damone Clark joining Neil Farrell, opting out of the bowl game for LSU. Numbers are going to be an issue. That became a big thing today, obviously, with Texas A&M getting hit hard by COVID. And for the Aggies, about 20 players that they had test positive for COVID, out for the bowl game. So A&M decided that they will not play in the Gator Bowl on New Year's Eve. So they're searching for an opponent presently for Texas A&M. And some curious options for the college football playoff as well, if COVID becomes an issue there. I have an idea. Since this new variant isn't really making people sick, how about we just keep going about our lives? But that's going to be a super controversial take. Look out now. Okay, all right, everything is shared. We're glad you're with us here, hanging out. You know the drill. Nightcap is a show that was born out of quarantine. Per the request of many of you, we have kept it going. It's a Whiskey Wednesday, so drop me a comment. Let me know what you're sipping on. I am going to have a little fun here tonight. I have with me a pretty cool concocted kit that Erica gave me. It is this was a Father's Day gift. This is your whiskey smoking cocktail contraption. I might have to move this back a little bit so y'all can see me. I'll do it back here so y'all can see. So you get your whiskey in your glass, you put the lid on. There's a hole right there, so you take some of the wood chips there, jar, and you put them in. All right. So a little generous amount there that we'll put in. I'm making a mess here. But this is how we're going to make a smoked cocktail, y'all. Let's see. Add a little more there. All right. Okay, so we got our wood chips. Now we take our handy dandy torch, and we're going to burn these chips here for about 30 seconds, and you're going to see the glass. Can everybody see it? We're going to, hope y'all can see this. So we're going to just torch this for about 30 seconds. Oh, ho, 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 ho. Now if y'all can see the smoke in the glass starting to fill up. Can y'all see it? I don't know how far away you are if you can see, but shows all kind of fire hazards here. The embers going up. Yeah, I hate to set this whole thing on fire. How about that, y'all? Ho, 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 ho. Got an ember on me. All right, so you do this. Let it burn. 30 seconds. Should be about good. All right. And can y'all see that puppy? See if y'all can see this. Check it out. I see the smoke in the glass. Pretty cool, right? So you let that sit for. So you let that sit there for about. Let that sit there for about a minute or so. See it, can you? Look at the smoke in the glass. That's pretty cool. All right, I'll take the lid off so y'all can see. I should probably leave the lid on though, so that smoke really gets in there. But you're supposed to serve it. It's pretty cool when you take the lid off. Watch. You can see it come out. Oh, it's like a potion. One of the coolest gifts I've ever gotten, man. Really, really cool. So that's how you get a smoked cocktail there. So cheers to all of you. Raise your glass, whatever it is that you have. If it's smoking like witch's potion or not. Either way, very, very thrilled to have all of you hanging out with us here on this edition of Nightcap with Scone. YouTube, smash the like button. Facebook, like the page, share the post. You will also notice, by the way, that's not what I wanted to do at all. That's what I wanted to pin. Boom. So what you should also notice there is, okay, I have one last thing, we'll get rolling. I have pinned in the comments, both on Facebook and YouTube, the link for the Courtside for Charity raffle that we're doing in conjunction with Gulf Coast Office Products. My buddy Trey Beal offered up his courtside seats for 4 Pels games. The first one is on December the 28th at the Blender against Cleveland. These seats are on the floor, mid-court, second row. You are sitting in a chair on the floor. If you have never sat courtside for an NBA game, it is an experience to behold, and you have a chance to win those tickets, that pair of tickets, for just $20 a chance. And all of the proceeds benefit 4 great charities. So at the end of the whole thing, which is about total, it's like 51 days, I did my smoked cocktail. And I did it for everyone to see. Oh, well, we're about to find out.
Yeah, I like that.
I know.
It's a good gift.
It is a good gift. So anyway, at the end of the entirety of it, with all 4 games are raffled off, the total amount raised will be divided among the 4 charities. So, so that'd be really cool. All right, let's say some good mornings. Good mornings. Good evenings. Edward McGrath, what's good? Matthew Barbera, I need chimney repair work. HUDCOroofing.com, Matthew. See if we can help you out. HUDCOroofing.com. Just fill out the form. We got you. Jan Barrio, how about them Tigers? Big win. Christopher Merrill, SEC will be tough to get through. Bama, Tennessee, looks like they're going to be fun to watch. They were talking about at the end of the broadcast there. It's a brutal start to conference play for LSU. First 7 games, all against ranked opponents, except for the Florida game, who was ranked not long ago. So brutal start, and we will know all we need to know about this team when you get through the first 3 weeks of conference play. Joshua Mayu, if the basketball team keeps shooting like this, I'll make a wager the Tigers in the Final Four. Wonder what the odds are. What you think's going? Joshua Mayu, perhaps, well, clearly you did miss my prediction in the summer that LSU was going to the Final Four. As a matter of fact, if you don't believe it, LSU used that segment from AFR in one of their hype videos. So, what do you mean? What I think? Jump aboard the bandwagon here, brother. I've been riding that thing since August. Brandon Atchison, Ryan Amanda Guidry. Rutgers is expected to play Wake. They were the first among the. So when they went to the 5 and 7 teams, they look at APR, and the highest APR team among the 5 and 7 teams was Rutgers. Don't know if Rutgers is going to play that game. Illinois said they would play the game though. So the really tough part is if you haven't been practicing for a bowl game and your team is dispersed, post semester for the holiday, how do you get them back to campus to start preparing for a bowl game this quickly? That's the really tough part. Gary Petrie, good evening. Sorry about the wreck. Got hit by a FedEx truck today. Brutal. Yeah, man. I got hit yesterday on the bridge coming from Port Allen. Dead stop, and some guy, boom, never even stopped. But I tell you what, man, this GMC Sierra got the worst of it. My Volkswagen Atlas, it took a hard punch, but it stood up to it. His car is totaled, mine isn't. Paul Hollowell, what's up? Brant Roband, you like Jefferson's Ocean? I think it's legit. Also have some Jack Daniel's Single Barrel tonight. So I like Jefferson's Ocean. Here's my problem with it, Brant. You're paying for a gimmick. It's not an $80 whiskey. If Jefferson's Ocean was $45 or $50, I'd love it all day long. For $80, you're paying for a gimmick. Now, Jefferson's Ocean weeded is one of the best things I've ever had, period. And I would pay $80 for that. Reagan Lee, scenario for you, Matt. Nussmeier transfers. LSU signs another transfer quarterback. Is Miles still guaranteed the starting position? Reagan, I don't think Miles is guaranteed the starting position right now. He's certainly afforded the opportunity, and he would be the front runner to be the starter. But remember, Miles Brennan has started 3 games in his career. He's been around a long time, but it ain't like he's done much. There's a big difference between your perception of Miles Brennan and what he's actually done on the field. So he's got a lot to prove. Vinay Patel, what's good? What's the latest with Gamecoin? They go live on a new exchange site. They do. So we all do. L-Bank. L-Bank is an international-based exchange. And so the whole premise behind, well, look, I mean, ultimately, we want to be on every exchange. But to be on exchanges, a lot of times you have to have you have to hit, not a lot, you have to hit certain benchmarks. Like you have to have a certain volume in trading per day for like 90 days. And then there's a fee on top of that. So like for Coinbase, for example, I believe you have to have like $500,000 in trading per day, maybe more than that, per day for 90 days. And then on top of that, it's $1 million fee to be listed. So it's not realistic just to be on every exchange. So what Gamecoin has done, we've all done, is try to strategically look at places to join. That's why Bitmart was a first step. Bitmart is a top 20 exchange that has a good user base, and Gamecoin in the first 3 weeks of Bitmart, first month of Bitmart, has picked up more than 1,500 holders, almost 2,000 new wallet addresses specifically from Bitmart. So the way that ultimately you continue to grow and scale is volume of trading. And so that's why being on new exchanges matters. So L-Bank, being an international exchange, very likely exposes, the idea is it exposes Gamecoin to international sports fans, maybe of soccer or cricket or things like that in other countries. And so that allows us to expand our ambassador athlete roster, et cetera, et cetera. You get it. So yeah, man, very, very excited. Matt French, what's good? Jason Truax, what's up, Truax? Brant Roban, favorite bourbon to mix with eggnog. Don't do eggnog, man. Jason Austin, you're going to burn your house down. I'm good. Kiss my ass. Kiss my ass. Kiss his ass. Kiss your ass. Happy Hanukkah. Yes, indeed. Gary Petrie, you might be calling Hudco in your house catching on fire. Nah, I'm not catching my house on fire, bro. I've done that plenty of times. Matthew Montgomery. Raise my glass of milk to you. There you go, Matthew. Jonathan Cleland. Hypothetically, it's still bothering me. While Kelly was an A, would you give Napier a 4 to 5 for much less? Napier would have been a much B plus safe hire with roots in Louisiana SEC. If it didn't work out, much easier to move on. Jonathan, it would have been a fine hire, but this is an all-in hire. This is a minimize risk hire. This is you've won 3 national titles since 2003 and played for a 4th, and you have the biggest nuts that drag the ground hire. This isn't we're timid and hoping it works out, but if it doesn't, we have an escape hatch hire. This is, we're hiring a dude that's been a head coach for more than 20 years, won in 4 different places, and the only thing he hasn't done is won a natty, and he's about to do it here. Hi!
What are you going to say? Say hi what?
I do.
No, hi.
What are you going to say?
Hi, Captain.
Hi, Captain. What was that
No,
supposed
you're
to
supposed to say hi, Nightcap.
say? Hi, Nightcap. Say, hi, Nightcap.
Hi, Nightcap.
Good job. You put your arm around Daddy's neck. I love it when you do that. So sweet, my boy. I was about to call him the sweetest boy in the world, and he starts hitting me in the face because that's what sweet boys do. Hey, I have a question for you. Who came to Drew's house on Monday night? Who came to Drew's house?
On Monday, who came over?
Who came over?
Santa Claus.
Santa. What does Santa say?
Oh, ho, ho.
How is what he says. All right.
50 minutes.
We'll see you later.
50 minutes. We'll come
All right, we'll see you later, bud. All right, let's jump over, give a shout out to some of our YouTube peeps over here. James Fortenberry, what's good? Daryl Severe, what's up? Adam Hutchinson, DC forever. What's good? Trivia Carter, Logan Foster. Recommended a bottle of bourbon for a gift. Do you need a recommendation or you recommended something? Jerry DeLucky, what's good? Hope you're feeling better. Having me some Heaven's Door. Jerry, I'm okay, man. Honestly, thankfully everybody walked away from the wreck just fine. The thing that's most annoying for me is, yeah, dude, I mean, y'all know I have chronic neck and back issues, and I was feeling in such a good place. I went to the last severe episode I had, if y'all remember, was in August, late August, was right around the hurricane. And it really took me about 3 months to get feeling really good again. A lot of therapy with Crystal Poche over at Restored Motions. And I was feeling good, man. I went to yoga on Sunday, had a session with Crystal on Monday. Tuesday, went to yoga again. Was feeling so good. And then Tuesday, I get walloped in that car wreck. And I'm telling you, man, it just put me right back in that place, man, with my neck and my back. So it sucks. That's frustrating, but work through it. Glenn Garner, so glad you're not hurt from the wreck. Thank you, Glenn. Appreciate that, man. Just, neck and back stuff, like always. Malcolm McKay, Matt, Tiger fan in Idaho. Love the show all across the board. Thank you, Malcolm. Shane O'Mac, what's good? Star Hill Stunners, what's good? Randall Offrecht, what's good? Another Lifetime Christmas movie. I don't think so, Randall. Spurge, what's good? Just caught Morning Scone, heard about your accident. Glad you're all good. Big fan of German engineering. I'm going to tell you what, Spurge. Biggest endorsement I could possibly give for Volkswagen and South Point is what I went through. I mean, that GMC Sierra, brother, his hood TP'd almost above his windshield. In mine, dude, you can tell I got walloped in the back, but brother, that frame was intact. I mean, my car was still drivable. Crazy. Edward O, what's good? I said LSU by 40, they won by 35. USMC Mike, we should always have gone about our lives. About what? Scott Thibodeau, COVID. Storm DeWitt, what's good? Steve and Matt, what's your opinion on the new CFP COVID policy? I think it's stupid. I think too often, with respect to COVID, we have chased numbers instead of looked at reality. With the new variant, one thing that's abundantly clear is while it is spreading very, very rapidly, we are also not seeing the severity of cases, which is a great thing. So let's recognize that you've got young, healthy people, most of whom are vaccinated, and let's go about our lives. But, that's going to be controversial. They're going to want to cancel me. Chad JS, what's good? Hunt Palmer said we win by 18-20 and not cover the spread. Poor guy. Hey, you know what, Edward? I'll tell you this much, man. Otter's been on it. He has said, look, and he's right, just from an old betting angle, you ride a streak until you lose, because if you do, you're only going to lose once and you win as many times as you win. So LSU keeps covering the spread. Eventually Vegas will catch up. Odds makers will catch up, but they haven't yet. Purple Barney, LSU beat the Bison or Bison. By the way, it's Bisons, believe it or not. It is they're the Lipscomb Bisons with an S on the end. And we did learn that Bison and Bisons are both plural. So either is acceptable. Joseph Armato, what's good? Glenn Garner, you were funny Sunday night. Who dat? I went to work on 2 hours sleep. You must have watched Scone Stradamus. Matthew Godwin's got a little old elk. All right. David Wallace, good with going about our lives. Let's see. Eric Wilderotter, ever tried a smoked ice cube? Yes, I have. Does it have the same impact? Sure. Whatever. I mean, the concept is the same, right? Ryan Beard, 151 watching on 35 likes. Come on, people. Let's see, we're up to 215 watching and 95 likes. Thank you so much. That's YouTube. And on Facebook, we are looking at 137 watching. What's up, Mark? Dustin Barzard, does LSU have their OCDC just not announcing yet? So, Dustin, reports are that Mike Denbrock from Cincinnati will be the OC, and Matt House from the Kansas City Chiefs will be the DC. That report first from Football Scoop. There are some reports, though, out of Cincinnati that Denbrock maybe isn't exactly a done deal. So, we'll keep our eye on that. Boom, 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 boom. Mark, what's your take on Taysom Hill as a starting quarterback? Get out of here, Mark. Mark, you come here every morning on Morning Scone and ask me about Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill is a crappy quarterback, bro. He's a really good athlete and a nice guy. Terrible quarterback who will never be a full-time starter in the NFL. Ever. He can't throw the football. If you can't throw the football in this NFL, you toast, bro. Brady Beacom, what's good? Let's see. Where do you think this class finishes in February? I mean, look, they're right outside the top. I mean, they're top 15 right now. Right outside that, I think they'll finish top 10. You add 11 more prospects to this class. Yeah, I think they'll finish right there. Brandon Atchison, 6-6 football team. Potentially top 10 ranked baseball team. They will have plenty of fans there. Bradley Abity, Demario Davis snubbed out of a Pro Bowl. Yeah, he should be Pro Bowl and All-Pro year. He's amazing. Matt, Merry Christmas. You ready for Christmas with Drew? Yeah, man. So Drew doesn't he doesn't really get it. Like, you know what I mean? He doesn't really understand the concept of like Santa brings you presents and you get all that. Like, he doesn't understand that. Doesn't really know what presents are. So he doesn't get excited like that. But he's got so many like Santa toys and stuff like that. So he loves like the singing toys and the idea of Santa. So when Santa came to the house the other day, he was just so tickled. So that is really cool, man. Matthew Barbera, William B. Martin, what's good? Brandon Atchison, Neil Ripley, Dustin Thiels, what's good? First timer? Got caught up in the traffic from the wreck. Oh, yeah, well, that was me. I'm glad everyone's okay. What's LSU's record next year in football realistically? Dustin, I would love to answer that, but let me see the roster first. I mean, until I see the roster, I can't answer that question. Who comes back? Who goes pro? What transfers do they add? I mean, the roster is hardly set. So I cannot possibly give you a prediction without seeing the roster first. Reagan, let's just share. Thought I'd warn you. Lots of adults getting their feelings about Eli Ricks wearing number 7 for Alabama. Oh, jeez. Y'all know my feeling. I don't care if you put a poo emoji on the front of a jersey. I don't give a shit about a number. Don't care. Ooh, Val Browning got some dram. I love it, dude. Which one? Which act and scene, Val? Lee Leday had Calumet 15, followed with an Irish dessert, Red Breast 12. There you go, Lee. Eric M., I want those seats. Well, $20 a shot. The pinned comment, both on YouTube and Facebook, is the link for the raffle. $20 a chance. We are drawing tomorrow for the first game. We are drawing tomorrow for the first game. We are drawing tomorrow for the first game. The first game is December the 28th. We are drawing tomorrow because it's the last show before the holiday. And we want to make sure that whoever wins it has the opportunity to give it as a gift if they so choose. We are drawing tomorrow for the first game. So buy your tickets, $20 a chance. Edward O, Moscona drunk already. Nah, bro, I ain't. First pour. Michigan over Georgia? No, I like Georgia. I think it's a huge overreaction that everybody's having to the Georgia-Bama game. I think Saban's just Kirby's daddy. That's still a really good team. LSU's not going to the bowl game now. I'm misreading the title. The title is that, well, it's LSU bowl opt-outs, the people opting out of the bowl. I don't mean for that to be misleading. Maybe I should change it. I don't mean LSU's opting out of the bowl. Neil Farrell's opted out. Damone Clark has opted out. More are coming. More opt-outs are coming, by the way. And as I've said here for some time now, I know they went into finals week with almost double-digit starters on the fence academically. And depending on how finals week went, depends on how many of those guys are eligible for the bowl game. And then when you look at guys like Max Johnson and Eli Ricks, Trey Palmer, Deion Smith, who have transferred out of the program now, your numbers are, I know Hester said this morning, 51, but that includes guys who have been awarded scholarships, former walk-ons who have been awarded a scholarship. So you are really, really thin on numbers, man. Big, big way. Ryan Beard, friendly reminder, I ordered E-Rock a Matty Ice jersey for allegiance to the Falcons, and we're all waiting for her freestyle raps. The answer was 8, LOL. I don't know what that's about, Ryan, but if a Falcons jersey showed up at my house, I would defecate on it and then burn it. Derek Maness, what's good? Dylan Wilsey, hey Matt, don't know if you have an answer. Why did Max decide on A&M, aside from his brother being there? Isn't Haynes King Jimbo's guy already? I thought that's why Calzada left. I think Calzada left because Max Johnson was coming in, when you just connect the dots. So, I mean, it's easy to see why Max Johnson left LSU. A lot of you will say, well, he was a starter, blah, blah. He started this year on a pretty miserable team with no offensive structure. 2 years, 2 OCs, inability to get a play call in. On top of that, all of the off-the-field stuff surrounding this team. It's not that hard to see, y'all. I mean, I've been telling you this for 2 years. A lot of you just didn't want to hear it. Ed Ogeron ran a shit show. It was terrible. And now you're seeing all of it manifest. The academic issues, the opt-outs, the transfers, the coaching carousel, all of it. You're seeing it all. It's all being manifest now. You're seeing what I've been talking about for 2 years when a lot of y'all just said, he just hates Ed Ogeron. No, I just think Ed Ogeron's very bad at being a head coach. I don't hate the man. He's just not cut out to be a major Power 5 head coach or really a head coach anywhere. So you're all seeing that manifest now. So it's easy to see why someone would leave. Why A&M? Keep in mind Jimbo was at Florida State for a long time. Brad Johnson played at Florida State, so got to know Jimbo while he was there. Been a great quarterback tutor, right? Jimbo, from Jameis and E.J. Manuel and Christian Ponder, all these guys in the first round. And then his brother went there as well, and look at the way A&M has used the tight end. If it was Weidermeyer this year or the guy who caught the ball or dropped the ball at the end of the LSU game in 18 in overtime. Hell, I can't remember his name. Hell, I can't find it. The hell with it. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Tight end from A&M. Who I can't remember now. Post-game shows brought to you by... No, I can't find it. The hell with it. Y'all know what I'm talking about anyway. Jace Sternberger. Thank yous. I had Jace in the brain. I'm like, what was that kid's last name? Sternberger. So he's done really well with tight ends. It makes sense. Makes sense why we'd go A&M. Can Miles start the bowl game? He could. He's not going to. I was already announced he won't. Tony Prejean. What's up, Tony? Creative idea for the Saints offense. It involves Winston, not Jameis, but Aesop Winston. Why not insert his playmaking ability into Deontay Harris's role while Harris is out? I guess you could. I mean, he's already returning punts. Should only got one more game of that, so. Let's see. Ryan Pike. Did someone say wagers? Give me locks. Amen to that. Dick Burles and Matt, can LSU win a championship in the NIL era? Absolutely. Absolutely they can. LSU just has to get organized. The thing is, LSU can't facilitate deals for its players. And they can't legally organize its boosters to do so. The boosters need to organize. And I think you're starting to see some of that mobilization as they've looked around in the past week and gone, oh crap, we're behind. That's a good thing that they're realizing it. There's this big misconception when people think, oh, well, how does LSU have the money to pay Brian Kelly or Ogeron's buyout, but they can't, get involved in NIL? Of course they can, but you got to keep in mind it's a big difference when Scott Woodward is calling boosters and soliciting payments for a contract buyout, and when an AD or someone affiliated with the university cannot legally do that for NIL, and NIL can't be used as recruiting enticements legally, although we know it is. That has to be an organizational effort from the boosters independently. And it seems as though that's starting to happen. It's not that they don't have money. There are other places with more money, no question. A&M has more money. Alabama has more money because Saban gets whatever he wants, and A&M has more Fortune 500, Fortune 100 CEOs than any school in the country. But it doesn't mean LSU doesn't have the money and deep-pocketed boosters to get it done. They just need organization. Bubba Tatum, good evening. Packing up to fly north to the boot in the morning. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, Bubba. EJN, do you know if we get a refund on the bowl tickets if LSU cannot play? Oh, I would absolutely think so. If the game doesn't happen, like if LSU opts out of the game, if you bought your tickets to LSU, I think so. A Rapping Batches, boot up, still undefeated. Nicholas Cantrell, what's up? Blaine Huseman, if Matt House is the guy at DC, is there a chance the Chiefs block the move like the Saints did with Nielsen last year? Unlikely, Blaine. Look, I'll remind you of this. The issue last year was, and this is another example of Ed Ogeron. Well, Ed met with Ryan Nielsen the week the Saints played the Bears in the wildcard round. They had their deal hashed out. The following week, the Saints lose to the Bucs. Nielsen tells Sean Payton, I'm going to LSU to work for Ed. Because Ed never called Sean Payton to say, can I talk to Ryan Nielsen? Sean got super pissed and petty and exercised his contractual right to block that move. Now, they pacified Nielsen, because you don't want a disgruntled employee, by giving him a big raise and a title, et cetera, et cetera. But that was Ed Ogeron not handling his business right. Otherwise, Ryan Nielsen would have been the DC. Nick Nelson, what's good? 8-5 Texas A&M. Oh, 8-4. I'll tell you what, Nick. I'll tell you this, man. A lot of LSU fans will throw that out there, and maybe that helps you sleep better at night. And that's fine. And I'm for it. I'm for A&M being 8-4 over and over again. But I'll tell you straight up, man. Hey, babe. A&M is one of those places that absolutely has the resources that, if they ever figure it out, if they ever got the right guy in place, they're a problem. Similar to LSU, which for 45 years didn't realize it was the big kid on the block and was content to be, 8-3 over and over again. And every now and again you make that push and have a good 10-win season, but it took Nick Saban shaking this place to its core to realize the untapped potential. And I think Jimbo's doing that. Look at the recruiting class he's put together. Jimbo Fisher is on the verge of putting together the highest rated recruiting class in the history of 247 sports. Do you understand what I mean? Like, not saying like just the number one, but when you add up the average grade of all of the members of its class, they're on the verge of having the highest graded class in the history of 247. Like, y'all can sleep on it all you want, but you better start paying attention, because if you keep sleeping on that, eventually when you finally pay attention, it's like the frog in the boiling pot of water, where you're just swimming and you think you're taking a bath, and before you know it, the temperature's cranked up. Before you know what's happened, you're cooked. Adrian Bailey, Roy Henry, I'm a former U.S. Marine. My son Matt is also a Marine. Merry Christmas to you and the Marines in the chat. There you go, Roy. Semper Fi, Merry Christmas. Thank you for your service. I know there's plenty of Marines in here. Thanks to all of you for all that you do, all those who serve. Hey, Janet, John Souls, what's up? Brent Torres. Between gymnastics, basketball, women's basketball, baseball, football, it feels like we have the best coaching staffs in the country combined. You can certainly make a case. I mean, Scott Woodward has certainly upgraded women's basketball, bringing on Kim Mulkey, there's no question. I think baseball got the injection of life post Maneri with Jay Johnson. Football is an unquestioned step up. Having Jay Johnson there in gymnastics, all those girls come here to because of the relationship with Jay. So yeah, for sure. Don't forget softball with Beth as well. James Lynch, opinion on the PJ Williams tackle. Real quick, by the way, 251 watching, only 122 likes. Can we please get that number up? 111 watching on YouTube. We appreciate y'all so much. We need more. We need more Scone Stradamus from Bruno Van Moore. Mark Hammond, what's good? Scott Buch, what's good? James Dennis McLean. Bourbon recommendation for my wife to get me for Christmas. Prefer a sweeter bourbon. Okay, if you want sweet, then you want something wheated. Boy, if you could find, I don't think you can, but the Old Elk wheat whiskey or wheated bourbon is magnificent. Jefferson's Ocean wheated is magnificent. If you can't find that, the everyday wheated bourbon is Larceny, which you can find anywhere, and it's like $35. It's good. It's not those, but it's good if you want something sweeter. Josh Bergeron, Scone, where can I get one of those Hudco hats? All you gotta do is ask, Josh. We gotta have a Hudco hat party soon. By the way, of course, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. James Lynch asked, so real quick, so 247 there, 111, 112 there, so 350, almost 360 people watching, took cumulative right now. Of all of you watching right now, you, a family member, a friend, a coworker, a relative, somebody, a neighbor, somebody has to have roof damage, a tarp on their roof, issues from Ida. They haven't called the insurance. They have called insurance but haven't called a roofer. They've called a roofer but are having issues. Call us at Hudco. Or better yet, don't call. Just go to HudcoRoofing.com. HudcoRoofing.com. Fill out the form. It'll take you 2 seconds. We'll be in touch with you in the morning, and we'll get you rolling. HudcoRoofing.com. Or email me directly, matt@HudcoRoofing.com. matt@HudcoRoofing.com. All right, so James Lynch said opinion on the PJ Williams tackle on Chris Godwin. So I hate it, but I understand it. And that's a cop-out answer. But I understand that in years past, guys would go for the big hit. And the big hit would be a launch and a hit that would a lot of times include helmet-to-helmet contact or something around the shoulders. Since that's been outlawed and vilified, guys have been taught to lower their target. And if you lower your target and the ball carrier, the receiver is moving, and if you're aiming somewhere between the waist and the knee, there's always a chance that you're 6 inches too low and you hit their knee. Now, if you ask these players, they'll tell you straight up, I would rather you hit me in the head than in my knee. I can recover from a head injury, but these guys make their living with their speed and agility and athleticism. And if you take out their knees, you limit that. You limit their ability to make a living. So it's a little bit of a catch-22, man. I hate it, but I understand if you're PJ Williams and these defenders, why you go low. Because you have to go low. But I hate it, man. I hate it. Jeremiah Hardell, Matt, what's the ceiling for LSU basketball? They can win the Natty. Defense like that, score. I mean, with a defense that good, the one thing they're missing is consistent shooting. But on a given day, if Day shoots like he did tonight, Brandon Murray gets hot, Pinson gets hot, yeah, they can win the Natty. Let's see. Trivia Carter, what's good? Shane O'Mac, thoughts on the possibility of Jimmy G at quarterback for the Saints if all else fails? Let me see Jimmy G's contract. Let's see. So he's under contract. Next year's the final year of his deal. Dude, oh yeah, I don't think Jimmy G will be back next year. So his cap number next year is $27 million. The dead cap is 1.4. So by not being on the Niners next year, Garoppolo would save San Francisco $25.5 million. So Jimmy G will be gone for sure. Would you trade for him is the question. If so, would you give up? And I don't know that Garoppolo is a better option than Jameis. So if Jameis is healthy, I'd probably go Jameis over Jimmy G, especially because you could just sign Jameis instead of having to trade for Jimmy and give up assets. Brooke Bordeaux, what's up? Got it on my 10-day quarantine tomorrow. There you go, Brooke. Glad to see it. Glad to hear it. Hope you're doing well. Denley Nelson watching from Smyrna, Georgia. Retired First Sergeant USMC from New Roads, Louisiana. Thank you for your service, Denley. Appreciate that. Brad Acord, should I make an old-fashioned with a rye? I do, Brad. I only make old-fashions with a rye. And I use Sazerac. If you don't want to use Sazerac, which I would recommend, I mean, it's $25. It's the best rye for mixing that you could find. If you don't want to use Sazerac, I think Bullet makes a good, middle of the range rye that could be good for mixing like that. But I would recommend using Sazerac. But yes, I would use a rye. Daryl, let's see, what are your thoughts on the Max Johnson transfer? I kind of went through that a little bit. Bobby, she wrapped up her damn cat. Favorite Christmas movie? Absolute Christmas Vacation. It's not even close. One of my favorite movies, period. Randall, all right. Louis XIII Magnum Remy Martin. There you go. McGiblets 82. I think it's possible LSU pull an A&M and drop out of the bowl. Yes, I do, McGiblets. I'm not telling you it's going to happen, but I'm telling you they're close, man. LSU admins insist they're going to play the game, but I'm telling y'all, they got walk-ons running with the first team right now. You don't have a quarterback. Yeah, I do think it's a possibility. I do. I'm not necessarily telling you it's going to happen, but is it a possibility? Yeah. I mean, that was on my radar. I told y'all that weeks ago, but that was a possibility. Trey Mitchell, what's good? Robert Potts. LSU women headed to Athens next week, going to the game prediction. Wish I could give you one, Robert. I'd be lying, man. I haven't seen either team play. I haven't seen Georgia play at all. Georgia's women's basketball, and I haven't seen the LSU women play a ton. I'm just excited that Kim put together a schedule where they could win, have some success. Very likely be a tournament team. They're playing well. They already have a nice win over Iowa State. Just hoping they keep winning. Steven, does LSU get a New Year's Six Bowl next year? Let me see the roster before I make a prediction for next year's football team. You've got tons of spots you have to fill. You probably have 30 roster spots you have to fill. Let me see that first. Let's see. Jeremy Hoskins, what's good? Jared, you're lucky. As much as I'd like to see Clark play in the bowl game, happy for him, especially the hard work pays off. Absolutely. I feel the same. Jared, listen, man. Y'all know my feelings. I'm very pro-student athlete. So if for Damone Clark, playing in the Texas Bowl does him no good. There's nothing good that can come of that for him. There's only bad that could come out of taking that risk. And the benefit for him is not hanging around for another 2 weeks. It's go start preparing for the Senior Bowl week. Start getting your body right for after this season where you started 12 games, made 135 tackles. Go start getting your body right for that week in Mobile. That's going to be massive for your future. That's the right play. So I'd love to see him play, but I get it, man. I get it completely. Any word on Flott coming back or sitting out and going pro? No, Nicholas, I've not heard Cordell's plans yet. But that's one you gotta. That's a guy who played himself into contention for the draft. There's no question. I would love to see him come back and be an outside corner opposite McLaughlin. I think Flott and McLaughlin as the starters for a full season could be a really awesome tandem, and I think Flott could prove he's more than just a nickel. I'd love to see it for him. But I don't know his plans. Leela Day, see that Armida on the shelf? Saw it at my local grocery and snagged it. Which the review, I like the barrel line. Not normally a finished bourbon guy. So, Lee, I like Armida a lot. It was fantastic. It was gifted me last week. Candidly, I opened it last week on Nightcap. I like barrel. I like dovetail. I've had barrel picks. Everything I've ever had that barrel's produced has been fantastic, and Armida is really, really good as well. Deacon Alec Campbell, Trey Willoughby, what's good, man? Hope you're doing well. Oh, I lost my spot, sorry. Let's see, Ryan Beer, woes of Ed Ogeron were hidden by the great talent, great coordinators. Outside of that, he was a disaster. Keep in mind, though, the great talent, great coordinators, I mean, Les Miles hired Dave Aranda. Ed Ogeron's defensive coordinator hires were Bo Pelini and Durante Jones. OC, he hired Matt Canada, disaster. Promoted Ensminger, what worked, but again, if Ensminger wasn't already on staff, it's not like Ogeron would have gone out and found Steve Ensminger. And then Jake Peets, disaster. Passing game coordinators, Jerry Sullivan, disaster. Joe Brady, overrated for his, we've gone through this before. Scott Linehan, DJ Mangus. Ed Ogeron's, like, the best hire he made was probably Greg McMahon, special teams coordinator. It's probably the best hire he made from an outsider he brought in. John Voorhees, what's good? Gordon trying to get NIL. I talked to Gordon. So Gordon McKernan is actively trying to organize NIL opportunities for LSU athletes right now. I did talk to Gordon today. Might be on AFR tomorrow. Buford Morris, what's up? Checked out the women's basketball the other night. Coach Mulkey's a beast. Do you know why the Gusters kid is suspended? I do not. Scott Borch, will the beer brewery tour ever resume? Scott, that is the plan, man. I would actually like to do our Houston tour this year for the baseball game, where we stop in Lafayette and Lake Charles and Houston for the baseball, for the Shriners Classic. The tricky part is that LSU's games, they have like the early game Friday, a midday game Saturday, and then the late game Sunday, like the Sunday night game. So logistics for this one might be tough. We're trying. Brett Armstrong. Bowl game means nothing. Why not start the walk-ons? Brett, it's not because the bowl game means nothing. It's because they don't have any other players in certain spots. Like, y'all, last week they were literally having long snapper tryouts. Like, who can snap the ball? Come after practice and let's work on it to see who can snap in the game for us. Like, it's like that right now. Let's see, Richie Mercer, NCAA should wipe out SMU's death penalty from the 80s. They were ahead of the NIL era. Not just SMU, man. It's everybody. It's been everybody. SMU, Reggie Bush. I mean, just look throughout the years, man. Dylan Hess, did your betting angle last year work this year? If not, would you share what you were looking for in matchups? I haven't really tried it this year, Dylan. At some point last year during basketball, after our heater, it just didn't work anymore. And so I didn't do it anymore. I need to bring it back, though, see if it'll work. Gary, question, baseball's third after signing the number one class. Who's above them? I don't know. You could have Googled it, but I will. Let's see. Texas number 1, Vanderbilt number 2, LSU number 3. Let's see. Matt French, is Panamsky going back to radio? Absolutely not. I know guarantee he'll never hire him again. And I heard he was going to be a sports agent. I think maybe some group out of Chicago hired him or something. Michael Kleber, I hope John trades a starting quarterback for the bowl game. That would be fun. Keith Bauer, Army 21, Mizzou 16. What did the line end up in that game? I think it climbed up to nearly 7, didn't it? 21-16 with 5:47 to go. Otter's angle, as always, is blind bet the service academies. You never have to worry about motivation in bowl games to the service academy. I know the line was like 3.5 or 4, and then it climbed up to like 6.5 or 7. So if you got it at 3.5 or 4, you're looking good right now. If you got it at 6.5 or 7, you need an Army to score again. Where are we? Tony Gudo, what's good, man? Ray Woods, Matt, do you see any pro athletes having sub coins on the Gamecoin platform when it's completed? Is there a goal or projection for the number of athletes that'll be on the platform? Every one of them. Right. I tell you, the appeal of Gamecoin for an athlete, it's not just an NFT play. It will be an NFT component, but you can also essentially trade what you feel to be the value of any athlete, where they can also monetize. And the appeal of that is, if you're an athlete, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you have a token on the Gamecoin platform? In any sport forever, why wouldn't you? If you're Walker Howard as a high school junior at St. Thomas More, why wouldn't you have a token on the Gamecoin platform so people could buy the Walker Howard token when he's a high school junior? Because if Walker Howard becomes All-American, first-round pick, whatever, you bought in on Walker Howard as a junior in high school. Think about LeBron, if you could bought a LeBron card when he was at St. Vincent, St. Mary's. You know what I mean? So it makes sense that every athlete in the world would onboard onto that platform. There's no reason not to. That's why I tell people all the time when they ask me about Gamecoin, look at the marathon. Like, what got me so excited wasn't the FOMO of the price rising rapidly over 6-8 weeks. It was, look at the utility. That's why I invested as much as I did as early as I did. Was look at what the utility is. Look at what they're trying to achieve. It's why do you think Leonard Fournette is a part of it? Why do you think Matt Corral is a part of it? Bobby Bradley, Jenny Finch. Why do you think that all of these millionaires have invested into this company? It's because they understand the long tail of what's coming. It's not, oh, let me put in $5,000, hope I make 100 like that. It's understand what the long tail of this project is and the people behind it, man. You got a bunch of dudes that are running 8-figure annual businesses that are running this thing. Men and women, I should say, but very successful, smart business owners that are running this thing. Dude, I'm gonna tell y'all, man, it is exciting, like very, very exciting. I know everybody wants the price to be boom like it was. That's crypto, man. You have volatility to the upside and the downside crypto. It's just the nature of it. But the projects that win are ones that have a good utility and build community around it. And Gamecoin is doing that, man. The exchanges they're onboarding, the ambassadors, the people that are the inbound interest from athletes every single day wanting to work with Gamecoin, bro, I'm telling you, it's bonkers, man. It's bonkers. And it's going to be a transformative entity for our community because of the amount of people in this community that are invested, that when this moons, it will transform our city. I've compared it to like when Michael Dell was building computers in his dorm room in Austin. Look at what Dell Computers has done for Austin. That's what Gamecoin can be for Baton Rouge. Matt, agree with about Andy being a sleeping giant. You have to give Jimbo credit. How much of the class is due to NILs? How much is it? How much is Georgia's? How much is Alabama's? I don't know. Caribou Crossing is sweet. Yeah, it's hard to find. It's like 80 proof. It's not really my cup of tea. Tony, hard to find too. Tony, what's up? John Voorhees, ever try Rebecca Creek? I have. It's okay. Tony Williams got in from the game. It's a Blanton's night to celebrate the win. There you go. Bruno Van Moore. I like whiskey, but I'm not a connoisseur. I'd like something smooth. What do you recommend? Try Basil Hayden. Basil Hayden's a low-proof, very smooth whiskey. $30 thereabouts. You can find anywhere. It's a really good one if you're looking for something that's affordable, that's low-proof and smooth. Steve Menard. What's good, Steve Menard? Got a couple of bottles of Caribou Crossing at Churchill's. Cracking one tonight. There you go, Steve. Let me know your thoughts, man. After 2010, Auburn was on probation because of money to Cam Newton. No, they weren't, Tony. They never got in trouble because of Cam Newton, oddly enough. Todd Harris, how do you make a good old-fashioned? I always do 2 shots of rye whiskey, 1 shot of simple syrup, 2 splashes or dashes of Peychaud's, 1 dash of Angostura bitters, an orange wedge, cherry, teaspoon of cherry juice as well. Rim the glass of lemon rind, stir, add ice. That's my old fashioned. Stuart Reitmeyer, why is it so hard to buy Gamecoin? Great question. Because crypto is still very new. And until you get on major exchanges, it is difficult to buy. So right now, through Pancake Swap, that's a very complicated process. I mean, I am crypto savvy, and the first time I tried to buy Gamecoin, it took me 30, 45 minutes to buy. Now I can do it in less than 60 seconds. But if you figure all that out and hammer through it, that's also the benefit of getting in early. Because eventually it will be on more exchanges and it will be more accessible to more people and more people will know about it and the price will be higher and you won't have as good of an entry as you do right now at 0.0035, whatever it is, right? It's insane. So, more's coming. Exchanges are coming. At 2 a.m. Central Time, we'll be on LBank, which is another exchange that you'll be able to buy it on, like Bitmart right now. And there will be more. I'm going to tell you there's probably a half dozen more that we're in talks and negotiations with right now to add on, maybe in the next year. So it's all coming. I mean, it's all going to be easier in time. But figure it out now while you have an entry at less than half a penny. Robbie White, Matt, if you never got into radio, what career path would you have taken? I have no idea. Honestly, man. I always knew I was going to do media. If it wasn't radio, it would have been TV or print journalism somewhere. But man, when I started in radio, fell in love with it and just knew I'd always be in this format. But I'm gonna tell, but seriously, I always knew I would be in media, some form of broadcast media. Do you think LSU will take 25 this year? I do. I do think they'll get that high. Grace Schuler, what's good, man? Let's see. Curious, Trey Willoughby, what do you think Coach Orgeron's future is? Coordinator, head coach, no more coaching. What I was told, Trey, is that he plans to sit out this year and he wants to do maybe TV. And then if he really misses it, get back in next year, likely as an assistant recruiting coordinator, D-line coach somewhere. Marty M, what's up? Glenn Garner, wish I didn't live in Georgia. I build jail cells for a living. Got to get up at 5. You are the man, got to tap out. I'll be watching Morning Scone and AFR as soon as I'm home. Glad you're safe. Thank you, Glenn. I appreciate that, man. Blessings to you and yours. Jason Reiser, how many scholarships did LSU lose with self-impose? You mean football? I think they've already done, I think it was maybe 2. So instead of 85, they'd have 83 for 3 years. So I don't remember off the top of my head, but something like that. It was negligible. Let's see. Trey said, Trey, I know who you are. Give her a shout out next time I can tune in. So hi, you rock. Well, she's in the other room right now, but she'll probably be around here shortly. Brandon Reese, what's good? Lee Kistler. Could LSU do the same as Texas Longhorns regarding linemen being paid by charity? Yeah. Not LSU, but a booster. Kiffin would hire Orgeron on his staff as a D-line coach. I'll tell you this, though. Orgeron's not going back to Ole Miss. He'll never go back there. So that's not happening. And Nick Saban, I will tell you flatly, Nick Saban did offer Ed Orgeron a spot on his staff already. Not a defined role yet, but if you want to come, we'll find a spot. Either analyst on field, analyst with the idea that when someone leaves, you go on field. That's Nick Saban already asked Ed to be on the staff. And I think Ed fucking hates Alabama. I don't think he'll do it, quite honestly. He's got enough money where he don't need it. And if he misses it badly enough next year, someone will hire him. And I don't think he'll go to Alabama, honestly. Let's see. ASCII Rock tonight, it's the holidays. When she puts Drew down, so Drew, every night, after Drew's bath, I bathe Drew, and then he comes in here, and then he falls asleep on the couch with Erica. Erica holds him, and he falls asleep. And then I usually carry him to his bed. When I do this, he falls asleep, and then she carries him because I'm here. Well, whenever she brings him, which will probably be in the next 15 minutes or so, after that, if she walks in here, we'll do Ask E-Rock. Y'all do me a favor, smash the like button. 257 watching. Appreciate y'all so much, man. Thank you so much. 257 there on YouTube, 165 on the likes, 92 hanging out with us on Facebook. We appreciate y'all. Where are we? Brian Champagne, they lost 8, but I'm pretty sure it's like 2 per year for like 4 years. So it's really like, instead of going from like 85 to 77, you're like 85 to 83 for 4 years or whatever it is. It's something like that. Voodoo, what's good? Matt, you've been saying the same thing about A&M the last 6 years. Let's see how many stay longer than a year and a half. Voodoo, Jimbo's not been at A&M for 6 years. And the point remains that they do have the resources that, if they ever figure it out and get the right guy in place, that they can be really good. I'm not saying they will. Hell, I hope they don't. Fuck, I hope they fucking suck forever and keep going 8-4. Are you kidding me? But you can't deny when they are recruiting the way they are, they're getting the right players. They beat Alabama this year. Like, they're on the precipice, man. I hope they keep swinging and missing on quarterbacks and keep going 8-4. But you're naive if you don't acknowledge the threat, like the potential threat they pose. Where are we? Brandon Reese, some point they have to do something with talent. Jonathan, 8808. Yo, Scone, give me a shout out. Go Tigers. Shout out to Jonathan, 88808. And go Tigers. Rob Boudreaux, nice hoodie. Thank you, man. This was a gift a while back, man. I really love this one. Super comfortable. Plain, just a little charcoal with LSU across the front. I really do like it. Is Brian Kelly ever going to have a press conference about the new class? Probably in February when they sign the new class. I'm a little surprised he didn't, because it is pretty customary that when you have that signing day, that you have a press conference. I'm surprised he hasn't done anything public since his introductory press conference. Star Hill Stunners, 12-year-old charter for me. There you go, Star Hill Stunners. Matt, when are you getting Brian Kelly on the show? I'll ask. Can't make him do it, but I'll ask. Jimbo Graves, try the Makers 46, very underrated weeded. That's true. Makers does make a good weeded bourbon. Makers isn't my favorite. But yes, drinkability is very good. Brian Lauscha, Hudco did my roof a few weeks ago. Great roofing service. No hat. Brian, email me. Send me your address. I will get you hats. Email me, matt@hudcoroofing.com. Email me, and I'll make sure you get hats. Jeff Zooey, got a bottle of McFarland Reserve, 12 years a gift, finishing Cabernet barrels. You know what, man? The only whiskey I've had that's finished in Cabernet casks, Jefferson's, well... Jefferson's did this one. Pritchard Hill, so it's finished in their Cabernet casks. And you see how much is left in there, right? I bought this thing probably 5 years ago. It has a awful, bitter aftertaste. And that has really turned me off. It has really turned me off on the idea of whiskey finished in Cabernet casks, honestly. Merry Christmas. Shooter was full. Disappointed we never got a Durante Jones segment when y'all talked about your whiskey collections. Danny, I think we can make that happen, actually. It might be really good whenever, better whenever he's no longer on staff. B. Lorky, guessing Locked On LSU isn't a thing anymore. So, Locked On LSU is still a thing. And it's just going to have a new host. So, for a lot of reasons that happened, and I'll explain this when I do an episode, but I don't mind doing it here. But essentially, I ended up running into just so many conflicts with a lot of the sponsorships on Locked On. They had deals with Bet Online and with another daily fantasy site, whereas on AFR, I had a really big deal with DraftKings, obviously. There were some other products that we had endorsed that I wasn't super comfortable with. Then the Locked On Network did a deal with Odyssey, which is basically bought Entercom, which is kind of a competitor to Guarantee. And they want, like, Locked On is building its YouTube presence, which obviously I'm creating a lot of content for 104.5 ESPN and for AFR. And so, like, if I'm creating content for Locked On as well, it's taken away from content I could be creating for the people that sign my paychecks. So, Locked On's growth has been amazing. And the podcast, like, Locked On LSU was consistently 1, 2, or 3. Like, the whole time I had it. I mean, it was right there among the top in the Locked On College network. I mean, it was tremendous. It had tremendous growth. We just ended up with a lot of conflicts. And then Guarantee's launching the Guarantee Podcast Network. So then it's like, here I am, a Guarantee employee doing a podcast for another network when my employer is launching its own podcast network. And so there were just a lot of conflicts, which pulled me away. So the Locked On Podcast Network is magnificent. And David Locke was awesome to me. And there's so many talented people, and their growth is remarkable. And if I wasn't a Guarantee employee, I would have gone, like, all in on Locked On LSU and built that and built a YouTube channel. And done, I mean, I just have, like, my home base is AFR and everything I'm doing at Guarantee, right? So, so that's why Locked On's growth was amazing, but the more it grew, the more it conflicted with my 9 to 5. So I am going to do a podcast. I'm going to be doing a daily podcast again, a daily LSU podcast again. It's just going to be under the Guarantee podcast umbrella. So the details aren't completely worked out. It'll be after the new year. But yes, there is going to be something very similar to what I was doing with Locked On LSU that will start after the new year. When do you think the coordinators will be announced? After the season's over. Grace. She passed away 30 years ago. They want you to say grace. The blessing. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. Jason Souls, LSU should not have accepted any bowl after Christmas. January 4th date sucks. Yeah, but the thing is, Jason, you don't really get to choose. You're a member of the conference. The conference works with the bowls to place their teams. You're a member of the conference. You go where they tell you to go, sort of thing. You don't get to accept anymore. It's not like it used to be. Who leaves NOLA first, Zion or Michael Thomas? Michael Thomas. I mean, Zion's here for at least 7 years. Matt, one more question. When is Stingley announcing his intentions? I mean, he kind of already has. Where are we? Let's see. The GOAT. Thoughts on Brennan and Kelly's system. You know what's tough, GOAT? Until we know who the offensive coordinator is, I don't really know what Brian Kelly's system is going to be. So, like, I saw Ian Book, who is a really mobile quarterback, very good with his feet. Malik Zaire, same. But then I watched Jack Cohn this year, the Wisconsin transfer, who's a statue. So I don't know that necessarily I can answer that, so I'll see who the OC is. Let's see. Did your boy from Thibodeau ever pass by and pay up? Nope. Clint, let's see. Yeah, I'm not reading that. Stupid. How do you feel about the Saints' playoff chances? I think they have to win out. I think they got to be 10-7. If they lose the game, I think they'll lose a tiebreaker to Philly. Todd Dupree, are Gamecoin's new baseball cards? Kind of, Todd. That's the idea. Part of it, anyway. Ivan Salazar. Aggies have decided not to play the Gator Bowl due to positive COVID cases. This is unbelievable. We're headed right back into the dungeons of lockdown and cancellations. I don't think so, Ivan. I don't think we'll ever go back into a lockdown. Even when the Delta variant spiked, we weren't locked down again. Our country can't take that again. You can't pull kids out of school again. You can't shut down the economy again. I think that was one of the lessons learned of quarantine is that was a stupid idea. Do your best to protect the most vulnerable, the elderly, the infirm, and go about your lives, because 99.987% of people who get COVID are fine, and we know what demographics are affected. So take care of the vulnerable, and other than that, be smart and try to make good decisions. Go about your life like you would in any other with any other threat. I mean, and I'm nobody's mama, I'm nobody's doctor, but I do have a special needs child with a bad heart and pulmonary insufficiency who is susceptible to respiratory viruses. But we live our lives with that threat constantly. Hell, I feel like I'm unearthing a 2-year-old conversation. Anyway. Bland's is so overhyped. I agree, Michael. It's good. It's just overhyped. LA Mom 2020. Jimbo Graves. No on the basil. Eagle Rare much better for a few more dollars. Jimbo, I completely agree, but good luck finding Eagle Rare. That's the thing. Like when someone asks, hey, I want something affordable, and it's like, that's great. Where are you going to find Eagle Rare? I mean, if you can find it, great. But I'm telling you, you can walk into any liquor store and find Basil Hayden. That's the point. I mean, there's a million things on my shelf I prefer over, like literally anything up here. You can't even see it all. There's there's three shelves, and then that, like, there's 50 whiskeys up here that are all better than Basil Hayden. All of them are better. But you can't find any of these anywhere, you know? Danny Braywick, NCAA needs to change the policy, like the NFL only tests if you have a symptom. That's what they do, by the way. But it's not an NCAA policy, Danny. It's a school-to-school or a conference-by-conference policy. As always, y'all, HUDCO Roofing, HUDCOroofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Appreciate everyone that's hanging out still. Love y'all greatly. If you or someone you know is in need of a roof inspection, roof repair, roof replacement, HUDCOroofing.com, HUDCOroofing.com. Gamecoin, the first sports cryptocurrency with a purpose. Learn more at thegamecoin.net. Launches at 2 a.m. Central Time on LBank, then the third crypto exchange will be on. MyCleanLiving.net, not just COVID, flus around, cold, really any pathogen, clinically proven to eliminate dozens of harmful pathogens, even things like strep and staph and flu and the common cold, and things like bacteria and mold and odor. MyCleanLiving.net. Check out their air purifiers, MyCleanLiving.net. And my girl Crystal Poche over at Restored Motions. If you live with chronic pain, don't. Restored Motions, restoredmotions.com. They're all linked in the Facebook page. Where are we? Brandon Reese, if the Saints had a good trade for a quarterback in the offseason, who would you trade for? Aaron Rodgers. I'd give up 3 ones and a starter for Aaron Rodgers. That's what, and keep in mind, that's what the Rams gave up for Matt Stafford. 3 ones and Jared Goff for Matt Stafford. I would give up 3 ones and Michael Thomas, or 3 ones and Ryan Ramczyk, or 3 ones and Alvin Kamara. I would give up 3 ones and a starter, 3 ones and Marshawn Lattimore for Aaron Rodgers in a heartbeat. Will Burton posted about Drew and Santa were awesome. Merry Christmas, Matt. Thank you, Will. It was awesome for us too. Vaughn Bluesman, no Gator Bowl for the Aggies. Israel is offering its 4th COVID vaccine to people 60 years of age and older. What's next? I don't know. Hey, Matt, what are your thoughts on the metaverse? I'm very for it. John DeLon, what's good? I think it's transformative. All blockchain technology is basically Web 3.0. It is transformative, and we will all be living in a blockchain world very soon. Matt, is Elsh going to be Kentucky on January 4th? Yes. Shane O'Mac, true loyalty is watching Nightcap with Scone when there's no head coaching search bus. Hey, man, we've been doing this long before that, Shane O'Mac. Kenny Futch, what's up? Big Grain Bozier. House and Denbrock, yay or nay? Yeah, I'm good. Big Gray, mostly I just trust Brian Kelly. He has a proven track record as a head coach over a quarter century to hire good assistants and to be competent and to delegate and to win. So I trust him. He's earned the benefit of the doubt. Ed Ogeron did not earn the benefit of the doubt. Ed Ogeron hired Bo Pelini and Matt Canada and Scott Linehan and Durante Jones and Jake Peets, and he didn't interview Bo Pelini before he hired him. And he just asked Derek Panamsky to go say, hey, Joe Brady, who can run your offense? Jake Peets. So let's hire Jake Peets. I mean, he didn't deserve the benefit of the doubt because he was a giant failure. Brian Kelly deserves the benefit of the doubt. So if Kelly likes him, what's wrong? David Wallace, Hudko did my roof. No hat. Well, email me. Let's get you a hat. 2455 Rockstar, ASCII Rock, is Rusty still in the Navy? Is Rusty still in the Navy, Clock? Ooh, man, where are we? Boy, are we far behind? Brandon Gubenzik. Sazerac Ryan the Glass. Cheers to you all. Brad Acord, what's good? Put Jefferson's on T-Bob top shelf to the left. On the T-Bob shelf to the left. The T-Bob shelf to the left. John Smithsonian. Good evening, Matt. Merry Christmas to you and your family. Thank you. Michael Daigle. Finished off an Eagle Rare tonight. Very good. Brett Gidry. Do you think quarterback room is set, or do they bring in another one? They absolutely, I think, bring... Well, I'm going to rephrase. If Nussmeier doesn't make it after spring, I think they bring in another one. Did I break? Oh, dear. Did I break when? Jesus, did the room clear out, Bethany? Hell no, she means presents. You shouldn't have brought presents. Do you think SEC referee headquarters needs to move out of the state of Alabama? There is no SEC referee headquarters. It's just the league headquarters. And I think the fan narrative about referees in Alabama is stupid. It's stupid. There's Drew. E-Rock's carrying Drew to bed. He sleeps so hard, man. Let's see. 10 out of 10 will subscribe to the new pod. Appreciate the insight of the matter. I certainly notice a lack of Locked on LSU. Gotcha, man. Let's see. B-Straw, Notre Dame fan here. Found your channel when Brian Kelly made the move. Looking forward to seeing how Brian Kelly does in the SEC. Drinking a couple of Goose Island Bourbon Country Stouts tonight. There you go, man. Appreciate you for being down here, B-Straw. All the best to you and yours. Merry Christmas. The system is what everyone games. Agree. Merry Christmas, Gonazoas. Hope the car is okay. The car is not doing so great, Bill, but we'll make it, man. Logan Elrod, what's good? Don Clue out. Well said, Scone. Love the video. Drew meeting Santa. Thanks, man. Steve and Matt, what do you think of the NIL stuff? Will the NIL stuff make the NCAA obsolete? I mean, what purpose would they serve that paying players is legal? Well, remember, it's not pay for play. There's still a set of deliverables that has to be associated with the payment. You can't just pay a player. They have to do something in exchange by way of advertising. But yes, I mean, the NCAA is effectively irrelevant. And we are headed to college football that exists outside of the jurisdiction of the NCAA, no question. Kyle Berthelot, over under Brian Kelly, 8.5 games next year. Again, before I make a football prediction, I want to see the roster. I mean, you do understand that LSU presently has around 50 scholarship players. They're going to lose more. And they've only signed now, is it 14 or 15 for this class? So you're in the middle 60s. Like you have roughly 20 more scholarship players you're going to add to this roster before next year. Like, that's about a fourth. You know what I mean? Like, let me see who else they add to this roster before I make a prediction. Matt, looking good after the crash. Can you do the Hudco hustle? I'm happy to oblige.
Hudco roofing. Hudco roofing. When you need a roof, call someone you know. Scone and Terrio. All you need is Hudco. Hudco roofing.
receive. Why isn't A-Rod free? You talking about Aaron Rodgers free agent because he's still under contract? They just restructured his deal to where, like, if he's on the roster next year, he's owed like $47 million against the cap. Let's see. GB, some called for Herman to get a natty at Texas before O at LSU. That's not true, GB. I never said Tom Herman would win a natty. I said Tom Herman would get to the playoffs before LSU and Ed Orgeron. And I'll own that. I also think that Texas was preemptive in firing him. His record actually wasn't that bad if you look at it. But whatever, that's on them. And I would gladly, I've told you this before, I would gladly trade 2019. I would trade all the bullshit with Orgeron for 2019 because it was that magnificent. But if you are someone who is going to sit here this day and defend Ed Orgeron, you're stupid. Like, there's just no other way around it. He was a terrible coach. He was a terrible organizer of talent. He was a terrible roster manager. He was a terrible identifier of coaching talent, hiring staff. He was terrible at everything. He was terrible at every part of the job. He Forrest Gumped his way into a generational quarterback. I'm so glad he did. It was magnificent. But the guy's an nincompoop. He's terrible at the job. Like, that's not even debatable. I mean, my left shoe could have won a national championship coach in the 2019 team. I mean, there's a bajillion, like, Les Miles and Ed Orgeron have won titles at LSU. There's a lot of coaches that could win here, y'all. Roger Dodger, what's good? John DeLon, is it okay if I mute for the Hudco jingle? You can do whatever you want, John. Just if you need a roof, call Hudco. You think LSU beats Auburn? I don't, Logan. I hate to say it. Winning on the road is tough. Auburn Arena is a brutal place to be. I think also keep in mind that everybody on this team that is in either their first or second year has never played a true road game. Last year with COVID, there were no fans. So this will be the first time a lot of those guys are actually in a true road venue with a packed crowd cheering against them. And I don't think they beat Auburn. It's a week from tonight, but I'd love to see it. Kenny Futch, what's good? GB, how is it possible to be terrible but greats have not done it? To win a natty? Ask Gene Chizik. Ask Larry Coker. Because in college football, if you have better players, you can win. And your next question is going to be, well, who got the better players? Well, the upperclassmen on that team were recruited by Les Miles. And Joe Burrow was someone Ed fell ass backwards into. If you actually care to learn the story, look at everything that happened subsequent, like the inability to manage that roster. Actually, the irony of Joe Burrow is, and I've explained this before, but so many people don't actually want to hear it. The irony of Joe Burrow is the only reason LSU even had an opportunity to get Joe Burrow is because Ed fucked up the 2018 class so bad he didn't sign a quarterback. And when Narcisse, and obviously you end up losing both Narcisse and McMillan, but they didn't sign a quarterback in 2018. They got in late on James Foster, and he ended up picking Texas A&M. Because they didn't sign a quarterback, they had to go into the transfer market to get one. And the only reason they got into the mix for Burrow was because Jimmy Burrow was on staff at Nebraska with Bill Bush. And you're going to say, well, Ed hired Bill Bush. Not exactly. Dave Aranda hired Bill Bush. Dave's condition on not going to A&M when they got the 10th assistant was he got to handpick the 10th assistant. Dave Aranda handpicked Bill Bush because he wanted a secondary coach opposite Corey Raymond. The irony there is that pissed off Corey, which is why he ended up going to interview with the Dolphins and the Bengals, and why Patrick Surtain ended up at Alabama and not LSU, because it looked like Corey wasn't going to be here. Anyway, it was Bill Bush that got LSU in on Joe Burrow and ultimately got him here because Burrow was going to Cincinnati to play for Luke Fickell, and Fickell had been an assistant at Ohio State. Now, every time I have this conversation with T-Bob, he says it's mental gymnastics, and I'm like, no, you're just fucking lazy if you won't actually understand context. That's not mental gymnastics. That's just doing your due diligence to understand there are contexts behind things. It's not like Ed Orgeron went and said, that's the greatest quarterback I've ever seen. We got to go have him. And he cast aside everyone else he had. He fucking needed a quarterback because he fucked up the recruiting class, and he got lucky that he had a guy on staff that was hired by. And Aranda was here because of Les Miles. Like, he literally had. I mean, you want to give him credit for staying on Joe Burrow during the recruiting process? Okay, sure. But fuck, man. Anyway. What's I talking about? Matt, please elaborate. LSU can only sign the same amount of transport players that hit the transfer at LSU. So Vaughn, you can sign 25, which is the cap, right? And then if you have 7 players transfer out, you can sign 1-for-1 up to 7 over 25. So you can sign your 25, and then if you have, say, 5 players transfer out, then you can sign 5 transfers over the 25. So you can sign 30. So that's a 1-for-1 up to 7. So if you have 15 transfer out, you can still only sign 7. So theoretically, you could sign 32 players in this year's class. All right, let's see. Might be just about done, y'all. Ira Fields, what's good? Miles LaPerry, what's going on? How long before the Tigers beat Bama? Let me see what the roster looks like. They could beat them next year. Games in Baton Rouge. Colin Gallagher, Matt, what positions do you think we should target in the transfer portal? Running back, linebacker, offensive line. Probably cornerback, too, depending on what happens with Cordell Flott. Tony Williams, don't get it. When schools are paying players illegally, fans are complaining. Now that they're getting paid legally, fans are complaining. What's the underlying theme here, Tony? Stuart Reitmeyer, do you believe the Saints are going to have to get rid of Sean Payton to win another Super Bowl? I do not, Stuart. I think he's a brilliant coach. They need a quarterback. Can you do an E.H. Taylor nightcap? By far my favorite bourbon. Richie, I got 3 E.H. Taylors back there, man. Not my favorite. Not by far my favorite, as you put it, but I like it. I like E.H. Taylor a lot. My favorite of the E.H. Taylors is 4 grain, and I do not have one of those. Any intel on strength and conditioning staff, players liking it? Yes. That initial meeting apparently went very well. Where are we? Matt visiting my son in Georgia, found about E.H. Taylor. Good for you, Dane. That's awesome, man. Find it, buy it. Why not Russ over Aaron Rodgers? I think Rodgers is playing at MVP level and Russell Wilson isn't. Does Brian Kelly plan on moving 30 to 40 players out? Remember, Roger Dodger, like, number one, you already were short on numbers this year. Keep in mind, okay? You were under 85 when the season started. When you consider opt-outs, transfers, seniors, guys leaving early for the draft, your scholarship numbers right now are around 50 or in the low 50s. So yes, you have that wiggle room, and you're going to lose more, by the way. Like I'm telling you, there's going to be more transfers, and there's going to be more guys leave early for the draft. Like, it's pretty much known Ty Davis Price is leaving. He's going pro. He's going to the draft. Fine. There's going to be others. So you're going to see those numbers dip. So you're going to have, if they want to sign 32, they'll be able to sign 32. Do you think controversy around Coach Wade will come back in the national media if the team keeps running? Yeah, man, it's never gone down. Pat Forty just aches for any opportunity to write about that again. Lenny Moss, all my life, I've always heard it's B coaching with A talent at LSU. Excited to do A coaching with A talent can do. Very true. Pedro Valdez, any idea where I can buy a bottle of Blanton's? Sorry, man. The best way to buy Blanton's is to spend a lot of money at one retailer and then hope that they'll sell you a bottle when they come in. That's really the best way to do it. Josh Bergeron, that rant right there about Burrow is why I love Scone. He just gave me a voice. I mean, Josh, it's not that hard to see, right? Like, the problem is people become very rigid in their opinions and refuse to be malleable and bend. Like, you can objectively look at Ed Orgeron's career as a head coach. And you could look at the disaster in Oxford, where he was 3-21 in the SEC in 3 years at Ole Miss. He comes to LSU. He gets the job in 2017 as the head coach. He hires Matt Canada. He's fucking fighting the coach less than a month into the season. Literally after the third week, went to Joe Oliva and wanted to fire Matt Canada. Do you remember the meeting that went public that they had with the AD? Like, where the fuck does that happen? Except with a coach like that. They fire Matt Canada after year one. They lose to Troy. They get shithoused by Mississippi State. He throws up on himself in the bowl game against Notre Dame at the end. Like, he's not a good coach, man. Like 2018, again, fell ass backwards into Joe Burrow because he completely fucked up the quarterback situation, and he got and I will tell you, I've said this, the best hire Ed made was Greg McMahon. Greg McMahon went and found Cole Tracy. And I got news for you, brother. You don't beat Auburn. You might not beat Miami, Mississippi State, maybe even Georgia, which that became one-sided, but you scored so much early because Tracy kept kicking field goals. Even the bowl game in that year in 2018 against in the Fiesta Bowl against UCF. Go back and look at how many games Cole Tracy won for LSU. Fucking Greg McMahon. And I'll tell you, I will give Ed credit. That's the best hire he made, was bringing in Greg McMahon. McMahon nailed it. Fucking nailed it with Cole Tracy. Nailed it with Cade York. Nailed it. And we might be done. When do they build a statue for Burrow? Brett's too late. I mean, I'm not saying they won't ever do. I mean, the fact that it isn't already done, it's too late. Like, it's already overdue. It's overdue. Put it that way. Scone, you didn't like Burrow before 2019. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, first of all, who the fuck thought Joe Burrow would literally have the greatest season in the history of college football? To say you didn't like him is fucking retarded. Who is that guy? Like, you're a moron. B1NG James. Ask any motherfucker in the world if they thought after 2018 that Joe Burrow was going to go throw for 5,000 yards and 60 touchdowns. Fuck you, man. Are you kidding me? Like, who the fuck saw that coming? Christ almighty. Jesus. That's the stupidest shit ever. I'm sorry, bro. Like, if you're going to say, you didn't like Joe Burrow, what the fuck do you mean I didn't like Joe Burrow? He was a really good starting quarterback. He got better throughout November, and I picked him to win 10 games in 2019. I thought they'd go 10-2 and had a shot to be 11-1. They ended up having the greatest fucking season ever. Who saw that shit? Get the fuck out of here. Bro, I ain't going to sit here and tolerate that, man. Get the fuck out of here. That's stupid. You didn't like Joe Burrow. Oh, yeah, fucking everybody was making predictions that motherfucker was going to go through for 60 touchdowns and win the Heisman by the biggest landslide in the 85-year history of the award. Fuck you, this motherfucker. Kick fucking rocks, dude. People like that piss me off. That's some bullshit. With a fucking fake name on a YouTube chat at 10:30 on a fucking Wednesday night. Get out of here. Fucking idiot. Is Blaine's really hard to find? Yeah. That's exactly the point. Why can't you just appreciate, like, nobody saw 2019 coming to that extent. I think Vegas's win total projection on LSU was 9.5. Like, you were thinking 9-3, 10-2, and they fucking exploded. Burrow hit this fucking parabolic curve, had the greatest season we've ever seen. It was amazing to watch. Like, you know, they got past Texas early. They hit their stride. It was magnificent. Like, it was this one beautiful symbiotic piece of majesty that we all got to enjoy. Like, and nobody fucking saw it coming. And if you say you did, you're a fucking lying moron. You're a piece of shit. So, like, just enjoy it for what it was. No, I didn't see Joe Burrow throwing 60 fucking touchdowns. Who the fuck did, asshole? Jesus Christ. Well, you're shitting on O. Because he's a terrible fucking coach. Are you kidding me? Like, how can you defend this? He's a fucking moron. He's taking pictures in bed with women. He's fucking walking up camp ladders. He's fucking fighting guys at the UCLA game with their kids. Like, he's a fucking idiot. What more do you have to see? They paid him $17 million to get the fuck away. Why is this hard for people? He was a fucking disaster. Like, you gonna fucking defend Gene Chizik? Was he a great coach? Fuck no, he recruited Cam Newton. Fucking Auburn paid Cam Newton $250,000. They had the greatest season fucking ever in their history. He was fucking awesome. They won a natty. 2 years later, he's fucking fired because he sucked. It ain't hard. You got a transcendent player that fucking won. Awesome. You could do that in college. Motherfucker. And he won a natty for him. And you know what, GB? If you would have given fucking Tom Herman Joe Burrow, he'd have won a natty too. And actually, Herman won a fucking natty at Ohio State when they had 2 quarterbacks hurt. He's the one who flipped the fucking offense for Cardale Jones and Ezekiel Elliott and won the fucking natty in 2014. So fuck you too, stupid asshole. Y'all motherfuckers are trying to get me riled up tonight, bro. Pieces of shit, dude. I swear to God, some of y'all are stupid motherfuckers. Just fucking stupid. Holy shit. That's right, John. They paid him $17 million to keep his mouth shut after he was fired because he was threatening to go SMU on LSU, by the way. Which is, they wanted to fire him for cause. He threatened to fucking sing like a bird and bring everybody down SMU style. So they said, here's $17 million, play nice, shut the fuck up and go away. Matt's gonna have to go to the patios. Anyway. Dude, it's the hardest thing for me in my job, I'll tell you right now, is this is objective fact. This is not even debatable. I know more than you. That's not even objective. That's not even subject. Like, that is a fact. I talk to administrators. I talk to boosters. I talk to coaches. Admins, players. Like, I know more about everything that happens in that program than all of you do. And I'm not shitting on you. That's just an objective fact. Like, I know more about what's going on than you. And you watch or listen because you know that intrinsically. Like, you know that there's a degree of credibility because I've been on long enough and enough of what I've said has come true, whatever. Like, whether you agree with opinions, like, there's a difference between opinions and, like, telling you a story without telling you a story. Like, the hardest part in the world is, like, fans think they know everything. Like, fans think because you watch the game or because you have a coworker who is the uncle of a player, you feel like you have a source that's telling you everything when you really don't know shit. Like, that's the hardest thing in this profession to overcome, is everybody feel like everybody, you have an opinion on a game. Fuck, you watch the same games I do. Now, I talk to really smart people who are coaches and like embedded in the game for a long time. They'll give me opinions, help me fabricate my thought on things. But, like, if you want to talk about the opinion of who's going to win a game, sure. Like, we can disagree on that. That's fine. But, like, when we're talking about the circumstances surrounding what's happening within the athletic department, the program, like, I know you don't. And I try to tell you, and you push back even when I'm telling you things, and it's really fucking frustrating because it's like talking to this fucking desk. Opinion is individual reality. You're a fucking moron. Like, 2 + 2 is 4. That's not individual reality. That's a fucking fact, okay? 2 + 2 is not 5. What I'm telling you, like, about Burrow ending up at LSU is objective fact. Joe Burrow was going to Cincinnati to play for Luke Fickell. He's an Ohio kid. He was going to play for Fickell. He only took the visit to LSU because Bill Busch and Jimmy Burrow coached together at Nebraska. It's the only reason they had the open door. Bill Busch was here because Dave Aranda hired him here because that was the condition Dave wanted when he stayed here instead of taking the Texas A&M job. Dave Aranda was here because Les Miles hired him. Like, that's objective fact. And Dave left because he hated Ed Ogeron, because Ed Ogeron was a Neanderthal who screamed all the time and reamed him up and down the sidelines, and Dave was like, fuck you, I'm leaving. Cody Reeves. Just joining. Sounds like it just got here just in time. Welcome, Cody. Welcome. All right, I think we're done, actually. Heath Williams, Colin Gallagher, what's up? How about the volleyball hire? I have no idea. I'm sure it was great. All right, I think we're done. GB, are you kidding me? You're giving Ed Ogeron credit for keeping Dave Aranda. Are you fucking ridiculous? Are you serious? You're giving him credit for keeping the guy who for almost a decade had the best defenses in college football. Like, that's like giving me credit, like giving Tom Brady credit for marrying Giselle Bunch and he married a fucking supermodel. Man, what a great eye for talent. Are you fucking kidding me? She's a fucking supermodel. Is it possible Dave didn't get along with Corey? It's not that he didn't get along. Dave didn't think Corey did a good job of explaining his concepts, which is why they brought in Bill Bush. That pissed off Corey. And Corey wanted money. And LSU wouldn't. LSU kept paying other assistants more than they paid Corey. They bring in Brad Davis to be the offensive line coach, and they pay him $830. When Corey's making $530, he's like, what the fuck, man? I've been here 10 years. I'm the best recruiter on staff. I've got the whole DBU thing going. This guy comes in brand new. I mean, good on him, he's getting paid, but why is he getting paid? I'm not. But I guess that's just an opinion too, right? Opinion is everyone's own reality, was that guy saying? It's stupid. Anyway. All right, Jerry, get that roof finished tomorrow. No, see, the thing, Don, is that GB isn't trolling. He's just a moron. Like, I've done this long enough to know that's what he is. Like, he intrinsically believes that. He's an Ed Ogeron fan. He's a supporter. He doesn't like that I push back on O. And that's basically what it is, man. Like, that's who he is. And that's okay. Like, he keeps coming back every single day and listening every day and watching every day because they don't know how to disengage. It's the hardest part for people. Like, and I'll never understand it, but people don't know how to disengage. They can't. So he'll keep. I could call that dude a motherfucker every single day. I could dog cuss his mama. He'd still come back and listen every single day. But GB, legitimately, I don't mean to dog cuss your mama. Like, I'm not disrespectful like that. Your stupid opinions, I will, but not you or your family or anything like that. Let's see. Real question: why did LSU never pay Corey Raymond? Because they never felt like they had to, Curtis. They just banked on his loyalty. I mean, Corey's 52 years old. He'd been here for 10 years and was coaching his alma mater and making a good living. And they just banked on him being the DBU guy that was comfortable and was never going to leave. And I mean, I told you the number. He's making $830 at maybe 820 at Florida. And they gave him like a title, assistant head coach. I mean, it's what he wanted. It's what he always wanted at LSU. Jared DeLucky, good night, Scone. Morning, Scone will be here before you know it. You're right. Amigo Tez, what's going? Y'all got Scone cussing like a sailor. Amigo Tez, I cuss all the time, bro. It's funny because people don't hear me do it on radio because I can't, right? You can't curse on terrestrial radio, but ask Erica. I curse all the time. I just don't care. Like, language doesn't bother me. It just, it's a tool for emphasis. Language doesn't bother me, so I curse a lot. The best thing about you is the ranting. Thank you. Your rants are cool, and I like the White House rant. Thank you, Bill. I enjoyed that one a lot. Steven, are you doing AFR Noir? Yes, but not Fridays. And then I'm off all next week, so tomorrow's my last show of the year. Keith H. Scone, you're the best. Keep on keeping on. Thank you, dude. Glad you stayed for the whole show. Glad I stayed for the whole show tonight. Thank you, David. I think we're going to wrap this up. If you're there hanging out, still 215 on YouTube, thank you so much. 215 likes. I love it. Please smash the like on your way out if you haven't done so yet. Remember, HUDCO Roofing, HUDCOroofing.com. Gamecoin, the first sports crypto with a purpose, thegamecoin.net. MyCleanLiving.net, NASA technology in their air purifiers proven to eliminate dozens of pathogens, including the virus that causes COVID-19. And my girl, Crystal Poche, over at Restored Motions. If you have pain, Crystal will help you out. RestoredMotions.com. Okay, y'all. Merry Christmas. A great night, even to the guy, GB, that I was cursing out. Blessings to you and your family. Y'all have a good one. We'll see you. Peace.